Welcome back to the Shermer High Alumni Association. We are back with part two of Pee Wee's Big Adventure. Let's see how this adventure concludes. Take it away, Janine.
All right. So at this point, we hear a faint sound of a semi horn, and then we see headlights, and Pee Wee waves for the semi to stop. And the front grate of this semi is actually taller than Pee Wee, so it's a ginormous semi. And he jumps in the cab and he says, "Thanks for stopping. Some night, huh?" And this woman who is old and I didn't know this, but fun fact, her hair is actually modeled after Don King. So she's got
Okay.
this tall, it is tall, frizzy hair.
Yeah.
And she turns to him and says, "On this very night, 10 years ago, along this same stretch of road, in a dense fog just like this, I saw the worst accident I ever seen. There was this sound like a garbage truck dropped off the Empire State Building." And they sort of switch and then they come back and she says, "And when they finally pulled the driver's body from the twisted, burning wreck, it looked like this." And she turns her head, and this is full-blown Tim Burton moment.
Yeah.
It is a claymation of her face and these giant bug eyes, and she goes, and I remember as a kid thinking this was the scariest thing I had ever seen.
I'm
And
sorry. I'm sorry. Can you do that again?
What?
Oh my God, it was so good. It was so good.
And Pee Wee screams, and she goes, "Yes, sir. The worst accident I ever seen." And she drops him off at this truck stop, and it's called the Wheel Inn. And
Yeah.
she says, "Be sure to tell him that Large Marge sent ya." And so he walks into this restaurant, this diner that's at this truck stop, and he looks around and he says, "Large Marge sent me." And everyone just drops their silverware and stares at him like in disbelief. And this trucker says, "Did you say Large Marge?" And Pee Wee's, "Yeah, she just dropped me off." And he goes, "That's impossible. Large Marge, she's..." And another guy who's sitting at like the bar of the diner, he turns around and he goes, "It was 10 years ago on a night just like tonight. Why, tonight's the anniversary," as he comes to this memorial to Large Marge.
Yes.
And he says, "Worst accident I ever seen." And Pee Wee goes, "But that means the Large Marge that I was with." And all the diners in this whole place, everyone goes, "Her ghost." And all of them, it's fabulous. So he's sitting at the bar now and he's eating, and he does the whole thing with his napkin where he's patting his lips dry. And Simone comes over. This is when we see her for the first time. And she leans over on the counter, like right into his face. And she's, "Don't mind them. They're just superstitious." And he smiles and she walks away, and he goes to reach for his wallet because she hands him the check, and he's, "My wallet's gone." And so now we see Pee Wee doing the dishes, which is something that we were always told as kids is, well, if you can't pay your bill, they're going to make you wash the dishes. So this is
A nod to that.
yeah, a nod to that, is that now
Yeah.
he's got to wash the dishes. And I mean, the pile of dishes is just astronomical. And you're like, there weren't that many people there.
It's been days since there's been dishes done.
It's almost like months.
Did we have an idea of when he lost the wallet? Because the last time I saw him see
Madame Ruby took it.
Madame Ruby.
Yeah, so Madame
Yeah.
Ruby took it. So it's been gone that whole time.
Okay.
Simone comes back there and she's, "I think you've worked off that tuna platter and a milkshake." Barf. And here's a little something extra. And she pulls out like some wadded up money from her pocket, and it looks like it's $4. And she hands it to him, and he's, "Well, the old highway's a calling. I gotta move on." And Simone's, well, you got to watch the sunrise with me. So Pee-wee's, all right. Yeah.
Like,
What?
what?
Right. So they walk out and they're sort of walking towards these giant dinosaurs. And like Carol mentioned at the beginning, these are famous in California. I don't know that you can still go inside of them and sit in them.
I don't doubt it.
They're still there. And so they're approaching this dinosaur. It's the T-Rex. And you can see that her boyfriend is actually, there's a man who's in the distance and he's pumping gas. And he sees Simone and Pee-wee walking into the T-Rex statue. And you can tell he's pretty pissed off because, that must be her boyfriend. And so they're sitting
like
on.
Pluto.
Yeah, he's this big, huge man. And he's got to be like 8 feet tall. He looks like he's 8 feet tall. And so they're sitting in the T-Rex. That they've taken the tongue of the T-Rex forms like 2 seats. And so they're sitting on the T-Rex tongue. And
He's 7'8".
is he?
Yes.
I
In
was
real
so,
life?
I was so close. Oh man. So yes, he's got to be like 8 feet tall. They're sitting in there and they're talking. And Simone's, do you have any dreams? And Pee-wee's, yeah, I'm all alone. I'm rolling a big donut. Wearing a vest. And she's, no, not that kind of dream. I mean, a dream that you dream about all the time, hoping it will come true. Do you ever have a dream like that? And he says, yeah, to find my bike. And she says, well, my dream is to live in the city of eternal love, Paris, France. And he says, you'll get there, Simone. And he says, why not? What's stopping you? And she says, well, Andy for one. And he says, who's Andy? And she's like, my boyfriend. He's real jealous. He failed French in high school and he thinks that everything over there is set up to make guys like him feel dumb. Well, I bet if he knew how important it is to you, he would change his mind. And she says,
Introducing male fragility.
no. Right. No, it won't. Simone, this is your dream. You have to follow it. And she says, I know, but, and he says, everyone I know has a big butt. Come on, Simone. Let's talk about your big butt.
Oh my God. So good.
And Andy is standing outside at the doorway and he's listening to this. Yeah. So he hears Pee-wee saying that he wants to talk about her big butt. And now he's enraged. And Pee-wee says, Simone, you can't just wish and hope for something to come true. You have to make it happen. And she says, Pee-wee, I've been waiting for someone to put it to me like that for so long. And Andy is pissed. I mean, he is just pissed. And so he goes over to the sign for the prehistoric museum, which is also a gift shop, and there's souvenirs available. And he rips one of these giant dinosaur bones off the side. And as Simone and Pee-wee are exiting this dinosaur, Simone's Andy, and Pee-wee's like, Andy! And so Andy starts chasing Pee-wee because he thinks that he's trying to make a move on his woman. And Pee-wee is running through this field, and there's a train just going by, and Pee-wee just jumps onto the moving train and decides to just take a nap because he's tired now.
Yeah.
And he has this dream while he's sleeping that this giant dinosaur is eating his bike. And all of a sudden this, I don't know if hobo is a politically correct term.
Really isn't, but that's what
I think
he was.
Yeah, and I think that the character, like they were really trying to make him look like that. So this hobo wakes him up and he offers him a sardine. And
yeah.
He's like, no, I'm good. And he's just sucking down sardines. I think he says, my name is John. I had to replay that, but I couldn't get it. They start singing songs and they're sort of dangling off this train car. They've got their legs dangling. And they're singing, she'll be coming around the mountain. They sing, oh, Susanna, skip to my Lou. And then Jimmy cracked corn. And Pee-wee is just, oh my God, please stop singing. And he's covering his ears. And then all of a sudden he just jumps from the train. And he lands in this field and he stands up. And there's a sign right behind him that says, howdy, partner. Welcome to San Antonio. Visit the historic Texas Alamo. And how in the world did he just end up on a train that just so happened to be going to San Antonio?
Right.
Like, if he
And the
jump
guy's
on a
name was
train,
Jack.
I think, it was Jack, not
Hobo
John.
Jack.
Okay, I was between the two. I'm like, it's either Jack or John, but I can't understand him. So Pee
Same
Wee's
thing.
he's at the Alamo, guys. He finally makes it there.
Job.
And he
Dun,
walks
dun,
in
dun.
and they're starting a tour. And he tries to interrupt Tina, who is played by Jan Hooks.
So brilliant.
Yes. And was Jan Hooks a groundling?
That's what I was just thinking. She had to have been.
I think she was. And she ultimately ends up on Saturday Night Live. But anyway, so he tries to interrupt her and she's, let's save all of the questions for the end of the tour. And he's great. So he has to sit through this whole tour and he's getting super irritated. And at one point she says, do we have any Mexican Americans with us today? And these two people raise their hand and she goes, well, buenos dias.
Yes.
And
Everyone.
buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
Yes. And Pee-wee's just rolling his
Rolling his
eyes in
eyes.
disgust. And finally they get outside and she's, well, that concludes our tour. Are there any questions? And he's, yeah, where's the basement? And she's, excuse me? And he goes, aren't we going to see the basement? And she goes, there's no basement at the Alamo. And all the guests start laughing at him. Everybody knows that there's no basement at the Alamo. And this little kid comes out with an old camera with a bulb flash.
Yes.
And takes a picture of Pee-wee. And then everybody's just laughing as he runs away. And he ends up at a bus station and he's sitting on a bench and this bus pulls up and people get off. And then Simone is actually the one who, she got off the bus and she's standing there with her luggage and she looks over and she sees Pee-wee and she's like, Pee-wee, and he's Simone. And she's like, I'm on my way to Paris. Andy and I had a big fight after you left and you were right, Pee-wee. I'm making my wish come true. I'm off to Paris. Thank you so much. And so they're walking because, she's got to go. Her bus is being called. And he's, yeah, guess what? And she's, what? And he goes, the Alamo was built without a basement. And she's like, oh, I didn't know that. And he's, neither did I. He goes, they don't tell you that stuff in school. It's just something that you have to experience. And she says, don't worry, Pee-wee. I know you're going to find your bike. And she's, well, bye. And then she's got her head out the window with a scar, like a handkerchief. And she's like, au revoir, Pee-wee. Au revoir, Simone. And so she rides off in the sunset and Pee-wee goes into the payphone and he calls Dottie at Chuck's Bike-O-Rama. And he's, hello, Dottie, it's me, Pee-wee. And she's, where are you calling from? He's, Texas. And she's like, where? He goes, listen, I'll prove it. And so he goes, the stars at night are big and bright. And then a group of just random cowboys and cow ladies, I don't know if that's what they're called, clap. And they're like, deep in the heart of Texas. Wait, Dottie, don't hang up. There's something I got to tell you about. It's about the other night. I owe you a big apology. I didn't mean what I said, honest. I know you didn't. And she's, yeah, I know you didn't. And so she's, hey, there's somebody else that's been worried about you. And Speck gets on the phone and he's growling.
Yeah.
And he's, Speck, I know, I forgot. All right, Speck. All right, put Dottie back on. So he's like having a full conversation with his dog. And he says, Dottie, there's something I want to say. I've learned something out here on the road. Humility. And Dottie, when I get back, will you? And she's, what, PP? Because she thinks he's going to ask her to the drive-in. And she says, he goes, will you still help me find my bike? And she's, oh, yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, all right, Pee-wee. And there's something else I wanted to ask you about too, Dottie. And she's, what is it? Could you wire me a bus ticket? I'll pay you back. Honest. She's like, all right, Pee-wee, when you get back, we can settle up at the drive-in. And he's, what? And he makes this staticky noise to try and make it sound like the connection is bad. So that was something else that we used to mimic. And he's, yeah, the connection just got real bad. Thanks a lot, though. And he's, bye, Dottie. And he hangs up on her. So he goes to the ticket window and he realizes that Andy is actually in line in front of him. He's just bent over because he's 25 feet tall. And the guy at the ticket window is like, oh, yeah, you missed it. The bus left 2 minutes ago or something. So he turns around and he sees Pee-wee again. And Andy starts chasing him. And Pee-wee sort of ends up in like this carnival. And there's a parade. And he ends up going into somebody's trailer that's parked there. And he comes out. Andy's still looking for him. He can't find him. And he comes out of the trailer and he's dressed in this full-blown, ridiculous cowboy outfit. I'm talking like he's got a bandana over his face. He's got these cow print. Oh my gosh, what are they called? Like chaps? Chaps. Yes, I'm sorry. And he's got like a red embroidered cowboy shirt on. And he's got this giant white hat on that's like, it's ridiculous. And so he walks by these cowboys and the cowboys are like, howdy. And he's like, yeah, howdy. And he gets over towards like this rodeo that they're having. And apparently he's put on Lloyd Fletcher's outfit and he's got the number on his back. And these guys just grab him and they throw him on a bull. And Pee-wee's out there, he's riding the bull. And they're like, he's going for a local record. No, he's going for the world record. And he ends up falling off the bull and he hits his head on the ground. And Andy comes out and he's trying to get to Pee-wee, but Andy's got a red shirt on. And so the bull starts to chase him. And some of the people at the rodeo actually pull him off of the bullfighting area. And so these cowboys are kind of like, hey, what's your name, kid? And he's like, I can't remember. And they're like, where are you from? And he's like, can't remember. And he's, okay, can you remember anything? And he's, I remember the Alamo. And all the cowboys are like, woo! And they're like throwing their cowboy hats in the air. So Pee-wee's just sort of like walking around on his own after he's suffered a head injury. And he walks into this bar because he sees that on the outside there's a sign that says they have a public telephone. And I guess he just needed to call the operator, which I don't really know what that was about. So he walks in and there's these bikers in there and they're just making a ton of noise and they're sort of laughing and just being rowdy. And he picks up the phone and he puts in his dime or whatever. And he's, I'm sorry, operator, I can't hear you. And Pee-wee's, shh, I'm trying to use the phone. And the bikers are like, oh, hell no. And they walk over and they hang up the phone. And this biker's, did anyone tell you that this is the private club of the Satan's helpers? And he's, nobody hipped me to that, dude. The biker's, it's off limits. And Pee-wee's, oh, well, my mistake. Haha, I guess I'll be on my way then. And he goes to go outside and he's kind of mimicking them, whatever. And he knocks over all their motorcycles. And the bikers come outside and they pull him back in. And Pee-wee's, but I barely touched them. And the one biker's like, I say we kill him. And they're like, yeah. And I say we hang him and then we kill him. Yeah. And then this other guy's like, I say we stomp him, then we tattoo him, then we hang him, and then we kill him. And they're all like, yeah. And Pee-wee, who's sort of like under his breath, like, so we let him go. And they're like, no. And this lady whistles and she grabs him off the table and she's, I say you let me have him first. And they all kind of laugh. Well, the lady who pulls him off the table is actually Cassandra Peterson, who is Elvira. And she was very good friends with Pee-wee.
Yes.
And this also isn't the first time that Pee-wee Herman has performed what's coming up next. So Pee-wee says, well, wait, don't I get a last request? And they're all like, what? And they're like, yeah, sure, why not? You know what? You can have a last request. So Pee-wee runs over to the jukebox and he picks out a song and he whispers in the busboy's ear and he gets his platform shoes from him and Tequila starts playing. And he jumps up on the table. He's got this platform shoes on and his suit. And he does this sort of like Big Kahuna, like surfer dance. And it's fantastic. And the bikers are all like, yeah, this is super lame. What is this guy doing? But Pee-wee actually goes over and he starts smashing all the glass items that are on the bar. And the bikers are like, yeah, because he's causing a ruckus. And he does this part of the dance where he gets on his tippy toes. And the bikers are like, this is fantastic. And they all, at the end of the song, they're like, tequila. And obviously, Pee-wee has won them over and they love him. And they're walking him out and they're like, he's thanks a lot, dudes. And they're like, I hope you find your bike, man. And they give him a motorcycle. They're like, yeah, here's a motorcycle. And he gets on the motorcycle and he's got the full blown, Carol, you know all about this. He's got the biker club vest on. Like they've initiated him into this biker gang. Yeah. And he gets on this motorcycle and he's like, all right. He starts the motorcycle and they're like, yeah. And he drives off and he just runs right through the bar sign for the Apache bar. And the next thing you see is that he's being taken by ambulance and the bikers are all escorting the ambulance to the hospital. And they rush him into the hospital and he's laying in a hospital bed and he's having another dream. And this dream is like clowns take his bike into the emergency room. It's in parts and they've got it on a stretcher and they take him into they take the bike into an operating room. And the doctor is a clown with big teeth. So he takes off his surgical mask and he's got these big teeth. And it's obvious that he can't fix the bike. So a big claw comes down and takes the bike. And the bike ends up in hell. And what looks like hell. And the devil is there. And the devil is actually Francis. And he's laughing. And he puts the bike into this vat that has fire coming out of it. And Francis is laughing, and then Pee-wee actually wakes up from this dream, and he sees his bike on TV, because there's a TV in his hospital room. And
this was one of the scariest scenes of my childhood, by the way.
Really?
Was that
'Cause
hospital scene?
With the clowns, mind you, I was 4 when this came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
terrifying.
It was very scary.
Yeah.
So basically on TV, they're saying that they presented this bike as a gift to Kevin Morton, who's a child star. And Kevin Morton is being interviewed and he's like, a bike like this is every boy's dream. So now Pee-wee is in Los Angeles. He's at the Warner Brothers studio. How he got there, we don't know.
It wasn't the motorcycle.
It wasn't the motorcycle. So he kind of sneaks in with a group of people. He kind of looks around and this is fantastic. And he asks these dudes that look like they're from the movie Dune. Maybe I'm wrong. And
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Where can I find Kevin Morton? And the guy pulls up his mask and he's like, gee, I don't know. And he pulls this showgirl to the side. She's got like the full head feathers.
Oh, yeah.
And she's stage 6. Pee-wee heads to stage 6 and he sees his bike. And
woohoo!
Yeah, finally he found the bike and Pee-wee sneaks in and he decides, you know what? I think I'm gonna end up having to dress up and be in this scene that they're filming here. So he dresses up like a nun and he's got this full giant habit on and it's ridiculous. And this scene is like Kevin is like at an orphanage and he's, hey, I want the orphanage to have this bike. And Mother Superior, no, Rusty, you sold a lot of magazines to earn that bike. Like
the kid's an asshole.
Oh yeah, he's a total jerk.
Oh my God, he's such a jerk.
Yeah.
And the Mother Superior, there's this whole intervention. So it sort of gives that time.
Yeah.
For Pee-wee to
get changed.
Like sort of become what he becomes in that scene. But I thought that was funny, just having this sort of asshole child star.
Yeah.
Especially like with nuns. Anyway,
yeah.
I just thought
Kevin
that was
Morton
funny.
I can't work with her anymore. And they're kind of going back and forth. And it's just It's ridiculous. And basically this character is, but I want to give, sister. I have just received the best parents a boy could hope for. And Mother Superior's like, you are an inspiration to us all. And Pee-wee interrupts and I'll say, I'm going to start a paper route right now. And he jumps on the bike and takes off. And he walks out the studio door, and it's one of those like barn doors where it slides, and he slides the door closed. And security is on it right away, and they're chasing him. And there's security guards on bikes. There's security guards on like golf carts. And he uses like this smoke effect that his bike has to fend off these security guards. And he goes through like a nursery that's on like the Warner Brothers lot. And he goes through all these plants, and he pulls this fake screen across like a wall so it looks like they can go onto this road. But it's actually just they run right into a wall. So some of the security guys crash into that wall, and Pee-wee sort of ends up riding through like a beach party set. Then he rides through like a Christmas set where they're recording a Christmas movie, and he just screams, "Merry Christmas!" And then he ends up like on a Godzilla set, and he sort of rides through there, and security just goes through that set and just rips it apart. I mean, they just destroy the whole set. And he ends up on the set of a Twisted Sister video, and they're recording the song "You're Gonna Burn in Hell." And this is
a music video.
A music video. Yeah,
So kids.
Yeah, we have to explain what a music video is.
We used to have a channel called MTV, which stood for music television. Now,
It's still around. They
I'm
just don't play
aware that
music.
there's still a channel out there called MTV, but it is not it is not anywhere near the same. This was a channel that played music videos 24/7.
Yeah,
But this was a video being shot.
Yeah, so back in the olden days,
When the days of yore,
when musical artists would make songs, they would make a video that went along with this song. And those videos could really include anything. Some of them were crazy. Some of them were just people sitting by a window that it was raining outside. It just, whatever they wanted to have in this video. So they would make a recording of this
artistic expression.
Yes, to go along with their song. And then they would play those videos on MTV. So if you wanted to listen to music, you would either listen to it on the radio or you would watch MTV so that you could see the video that went along with this song. And that was entertainment for us.
They did their top list too of the best.
Right. Yes. And so
the best
that was
videos of the week.
That was our entertainment back in the olden days.
Right. If you weren't listening to Casey Kasem on the radio, you're listening to Mark Goodman on TV counting down the best hits. So back to the movie.
Correct. Twisted Sister is there, which the side note is that I guess Paul Reubens met, who's the lead singer of, hold on, I have a note about it.
Dean Schneider? No.
D. Schneider. They met at an MTV New Year's Eve party. The two both expressed mutual admiration for each other. And in early 1985, the band were visiting California to perform several shows at the Long Beach Arena. And Reubens contacted Snyder about the band possibly doing a cameo in the film during the chase scene, which envisioned passing through a Twisted Sister video shoot. And while Snyder initially suggested using the words, using the song "We're Not Gonna Take It" or "I Want to Rock" for the sequence, much to his delight, Reubens specifically requested "Burn in Hell." Yeah, so they were friends, and
that's awesome.
He asked him, "Since you're here, you want to be in my movie?" And D. Snyder was like, "Hell yeah, let's do that." So, yeah, Pee-wee ends up swinging on a vine across like a body of water, and then he's on a set with a bunch of houses, and he uses a setting on his bike that sends him up into the sky with his bike, and he lands this super cool stunt in front of another group of kids, and the one kid is like, "Radical!" And Pee-wee just gives them a thumbs up because he actually did a cool BMX stunt on his bike.
He did. He was so happy with himself.
He was very, very happy. So he's just riding away on his bike, and he comes across a pet shop that happens to be on fire. So he goes in and I got to save all these animals. And there's snakes, a chimpanzee. There's like full grown dogs, puppies. The chimpanzee is helping him get all these animals out. There's like birds and fish and chicks and
Chickens.
rats, chickens. There's all these different types of animals that wouldn't really be in a pet store. And so he keeps coming out with all these different animals and he keeps passing the snakes up and he's, God, I don't want to have to take these snakes out. He's even fishing out goldfish and putting them in a bowl to take them outside, but the fish are in water. So I don't, I think they would have been fine. But so finally he comes out and he's got all the snakes in his hands and he's just holding them up and he's screaming and he passes out on the ground and the fireman is like, this boy's here. He's a hero.
Yeah.
And the cops show up and they're like, nah, this boy is under arrest. So he ends up back at Warner Brothers Studios and he's sitting down with all these people and the security guys are there and they're watching a video of all this damage that Pee-wee caused, just all this chaos. And Pee-wee's, I can explain everything, Mr. Hawthorne. And he says, call me Terry. And Terry's, Pee-wee, Warner Brothers thinks that your story would be a fantastic movie. And Pee-wee's like, my story? A movie? Okay. And so Dottie walks in and she's got Pee-wee's bike. And she's dressed in this super cute dress. Like she's super excited to see him. And she walks over and she puts her arms out like she's going to hug him. And he just totally avoids her and goes and kisses his bike.
Right.
And Terry's, so do we have a deal? And Pee-wee's, yeah, deal. And they shake hands. So fast forward, we're at a drive-in theater and the marquee out front says world premiere tonight, Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Show starts at 7. And Pee-wee comes out of the snack bar and he's got a bunch of snacks in his hands. And the BMX kids are there. They're kind of like, hey, we're so happy to be here. Can we get your autograph? And he laughs and Terry's there. He's in a limo and Pee-wee hands him a chili dog. And Terry's, thanks, babe. Pee-wee kind of laughs and he's, babe. John, the hobo, which I hate to use that word. He's there with his buddies and Pee-wee got them all snow cones. And the movie starts. And so James Brolin is playing Pee-wee. And Morgan Fairchild plays Dottie. And they're on a motorcycle. And they're driving through this jungle. And they stop. And James Brolin is, let's take a breather, Dottie. The X1 needs to cool down. And Dottie in this movie is, I'm a little overheated myself. Come on over here, PW. And they start.
And she's wearing this like skin tight, like
metallic blue jumpsuit,
like superhero color. I was like, what do you got on there?
Yes, it's ridiculous. So James Brolin is actually wearing the Pee-wee suit.
He is.
But Dottie is actually wearing like this ridiculous outfit. They start kissing and then all of a sudden all these ninjas come out of the trees. And James Brolin and Dottie are both fighting the ninjas, and one of the ninjas gets on the motorcycle and steals it while he's fighting another ninja. And the Pee-wee in the movie is, I got to get to a phone. And so we come to a scene where the real Pee-wee. I'm sorry. So actually, I'm sorry. We cut to a scene where Pee-wee is at the drive-in and he's kind of walking down this line of guests and he comes to a bus, like a prison bus, and Mickey's there. And Mickey sticks his head out the window and he's, great so far, Pee-wee, action-packed. And Pee-wee hands him one soda and a footlong and he winks at him and the guard intercepts the footlong and he pulls this saw blade out of it. And Mickey goes, good try, Pee-wee.
Like a solid on Pee-wee. He
right.
brought like a saw blade.
Right.
Mickey.
Yeah, so
Very
Pee-wee's
bold.
like, look, Mickey. And it's a scene where Pee-wee is now playing the front desk clerk at a hotel in his movie. And the James Brolin Pee-wee is, have you got any messages for room 104? The name's Herman. P.W. Herman. And the real Pee-wee kind of looks back and forth awkwardly. He's just not looking at the desk or anything. And he's, no, nothing right now, Mr. Herman.
But it's a voiceover, though.
Yeah,
It's
it's like
not
a
even him.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like a voiceover of this really deep voice.
No,
And
nothing now, right now, Mr. Herman.
So James Brolin Pee-wee is, I'll be in the bar. And Mickey's, wow, that's fantastic, Pee-wee. And we're back at the drive-in, and Simone is there. And she's got a new boyfriend, and his name is Pierre. And they're
Of
in
course.
this little tiny, like, MG convertible car.
Yeah.
And Pee-wee got them French fries, and they think that's hilarious. They're like, merci. And he goes, merci, Coke. And so the bikers, the motorcycle guys, they're all there too. And he's, hey, my big scene is coming up, you guys. And he just throws all this candy in the air for them. And we go back to the movie. And Pee-wee in the movie has a microphone, and he's paging Mr. Herman. Mr. Herman, you have a telephone call at the front desk. And James Brolin takes the phone, and he grabs it out of his hand. And Dottie walks up, and that was the president again. I've got to steal the X-1 back before the Soviets find the secret compartment containing the microfilm. The future of the free world is riding on this one. And Morgan Fairchild Dottie is, I'm going with you. And he says, no, Dottie, it's too dangerous. And she says, I invented the X1 PW. I'm going with you. And he's like, all right, let's go. And she's, you're such a pushover. And he says, I know you are.
But what
But
am
what am
I?
I? And Pee-wee is like the real Pee-wee is standing behind them, like
In the center of the shot.
like in the center of the shot, just like staring at them. It's hilarious.
So
And
good.
so back to the drive-in, and Chuck from Chuck's Bike-O-Rama is there, and he's like, hey, congratulations, Pee-wee. And now we come up to Dottie, and she's sitting on her bike, and Pee-wee's bike is next to it. And he got her candy, and you see Francis kind of walking up behind the bikes, and he's being interviewed by
Reporters.
but Phil
But it's Phil
Phil
Hartman and
Hartman
Michael.
is a reporter.
Well,
Mhm.
both Phil Hartman and Michael. I can't say his name. Michael
Varhol.
Varhol
Are both
both
reporters.
are both the reporters.
And
Yeah.
so he's, oh yeah, me and Pee-wee are blood brothers, and I taught Pee-wee how to ride a bike. And Francis is like, hey, how about we get a picture of me on the bike? And Dottie says, I don't think that's such a good idea. And just out of nowhere, Francis says, I don't think that's your decision. If it wasn't for me, none of this would have happened to you, right, Pee-wee? And Pee-wee's, well, sort of.
Yes.
And Francis sits on the seat and pushes a button that ejects him from the bike. And he just flies into the air. Like, you see him go above the screen at the drive-in. He's like airborne into the sky. And you see Specken, a pink dog that I'm assuming was the dog from the pet shop,
Yes. Yeah.
are in the basket of Dottie's bike, and they pop their heads out, and Pee-wee and Dottie share a little laugh. And then it pans back to the movie, and you see James Brolin talking to Morgan Fairchild, and he says, you don't want to get mixed up with a guy like me. I'm a loner, Dottie, a rebel. And they kiss. And then you see the real Pee-wee and Dottie, and Pee-wee says, come on, Dottie, let's go.
Let's go.
And she's, let's go. Don't you want to see the rest of the movie? And he says, I don't have to see it, Dottie. I lived it.
I lived it.
And you see Pee-wee and Dottie's shadows riding their bikes right across the movie screen. And that's the end of the movie. And credits.
What a joyful piece.
I also wanted to say that Ebert, of Roger and Ebert, he did make a statement about this movie, that even though it is one of his guilty pleasures, he said, the movie is not just a strange little man acting goofy. Pee-wee has created a whole fairy tale universe as consistent and fascinating as Alice's Wonderland or the world of the Hobbits and the Lord of the Rings. Pee-wee's Big Adventure is one of these movies like The Wizard of Oz, I think, that kids can look at in one state of mind while the grown-ups enjoy it in a completely different level.
Okay, cool, Ebert. That was a minute too late.
Yes, but so very true.
But very true. It's very, very accurate. So we were talking, right? We were all talking about how we're rating our movies because I was starting to go back and make sure that we have a record of it. And I was like, okay, we're all over the board here. So we're going to start on a new rating scale of the cringe meter and the rewatchability scale. And we're going to look at movies, again, still 1 to 5. 1 being not really, and we're not going to use 1 through 5, right? We're going to say it's not
Right.
really, kind of, totally, super, extreme. And so that's how we're going to kind of grade on the cringe. And then, are we watching this on a Saturday? What's the rewatchability of this? And that's absolutely or absolutely not. And Carol, what are your takeaways from Pee-wee's Big Adventure?
I love Pee-wee. I think this is an amazing movie. To do the rewatch scale, I would absolutely watch it only because I did rent it on Amazon and I have 36 hours left on it. So I think on a Saturday, which would be tomorrow, might actually show it to Luna and see what she thinks. I
Okay.
think there's enough
Yes.
going on in it to grab kids' attention. So
For
I would
sure.
love to see what her perspective of it is.
Yeah,
So I
let
would
us know.
yeah, I would absolutely rewatch it. And it is absolutely not really on the cringe meter. There was nothing cringy about it.
I
I absolutely love it.
I fully agree with you. It's not really cringe. It has stood the test of time. I think that absolutely, if it comes up on a Saturday, I'm gonna sit down and watch it. Am I gonna watch the entire thing? I don't know, but I would stop. I would watch it. So I fully agree with you, Carol. We're gonna give those final thoughts over to Janine.
I think
We all
everybody
know what
knows
Janine
how I feel about this. So absolutely, I'm going to rewatch it. I'd probably actually stop whatever I'm doing to watch it if it came on organically. I think that Pee Wee Herman and Paul Reubens are absolute gems. It came out at a time where I was sort of a weird kid and I didn't know how to express that weirdness. And he taught kids that it was okay to be weird and quirky and funny and just amazing. And I miss him. It was a very important time for me as a kid. And I hate to get choked up, but this movie means so much to me. I
Mm.
miss Paul Reubens. He was someone I looked up to greatly because there were not many actors that did this. Pee-wee's Playhouse taught me so much. He taught us to be kids and to take care of each other and be weird and fun and funky and he's just an absolute gem. I love Paul Reubens. I had the actual Pee-wee's Playhouse set. I had all the characters. I had t-shirts. I had so much stuff that was Pee-wee. I love him. I love this movie. It reminds me just how funny and fun this movie was when it came out. And I love everything about it. I love that Tim Burton was part of this. I love that Phil Hartman was in this. I love Elizabeth Daily. I loved her in several movies that she was in, including Valley Girl. Valley Girl is one of my favorite movies also. But man, after watching Pee Wee Herman as himself, it gives you just this whole new appreciation for who Pee Wee was. And I just absolutely love this film. And for anyone who doesn't like it, we cannot be friends because this is just, it is an absolute, out of any movie, it is like a diamond to me. He was everything that I feel in my soul.
We
That
need more
was
Pee
So
Wees.
my gosh. Our reviews feel like nothing compared to Janine's. So thank you for
Yeah.
that. Thank you for
sure.
that.
So there is zero cringe. Everything about this movie is just fantastic. Just every little tiny detail and just the jokes and the when you really watch this movie and pay attention to what's going on, it is just the fact that he put this all together out of just an idea that he had in his head is just pure fucking genius. He's
Yes.
a genius, and I wish that I know other people who really appreciate him, but
Yeah.
I think I just I appreciated him in a way that I don't think a lot of people do. Because I was a
Thank
weird
you.
kid. I was a weird kid, and I love everything about him.
Thank
I
you for
love
that.
that.
I think that this one, so we've inducted one movie so far into the Shaw Hall of Fame. Carol, you were on vacation, but we did induct Breakfast Club into the association Hall of Fame. And I would definitely put this up and into the association Hall of Fame.
I
For
agree.
sure.
I second that motion. Janine,
All
do
in
you
All
third?
in favor?
I
Aye.
Aye.
It's the best.
That's awesome.
So yes, everyone, all children, everyone should experience this movie.
And that's a wrap on Pee Wee's Big Adventure, a movie that reminded us it's totally okay to be weird, obsessive, and completely unhinged, as long as you do it with a bow tie.
Not to mention one of the greatest dance scenes in cinematic history.
And through it all, Paul Reubens gave us a character who made weirdness joyful, vulnerability cool, and childlike wonder something to be proud of.
We miss him. We love him. And we'll never look at the Alamo or a clown statue the same way again.
Thanks for riding along with us. If you like this episode, leave us a review or scream, "I know you are, but what am I?" into the void. We'll feel it in our souls and our hearts.
This is the Shermer High Alumni Association. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.